are talking Revealer, directed and co-written by Luke Boyce. And this is a seemingly quite low-budget, end-of-the-world movie about the Rapture. And the movie focuses on two characters. We have a stripper who is performing in this kind of, low-rent kind of strip club, and that's being protested by these group of, religious protesters. And then the Rapture happens. And it just so happens that one of these protesters, this other woman, manages to kind of seek shelter within this kind of strip club, and these two end up getting stuck in this booth together and have to try and figure out a means of escape while the Rapture is happening outside. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So let's discuss what I think works in this movie. I think this movie is quite a low budget movie, but it does a pretty good job of hiding it, I think. For example, we don't really see the Rapture itself. It's all kind of, happening outside, and we get a couple of shots of lightning in the sky and things like that, but we don't really ever see anything. Apparently it's kind of turning the regular folk into zombies and stuff, but we only ever really see one. But the movie doesn't kind of show us that. It smartly focuses on these two characters, and we are kind of, getting the idea about what is happening outside, because one of the women is as I say, is very religious. She kind of has an idea about what's kind of going on. But I think the movie wisely focuses on these kind of, if they can't afford to do these effects, then fair play, better not doing them crappy effects is what I think. So yeah, but it focuses on these characters, and I think distracts you from the fact that it really is obviously clearly quite a lower budget movie, by keeping the focus on the relationship between these two characters who obviously have diametrically opposed views and things. Now this movie takes place in the late 80s, so it does try to have this kind of retro feel, so if you like a bit of synthwave, you'll enjoy here. There's a few kind of fun references to even movies like Chud, which I kind of quite appreciated. Now the characters themselves, initially I got to be honest with you, I had mixed feelings of, because they do feel a little bit grating at times, to be honest with you, both of them. But overall, when the movie was done, I had to say I warmed to them quite a bit. I actually kind of quite like their relationship and the way they have these kind of differing views. I mean, the movie does get a little bit messagey, I have to say, at times, and people who don't really like these things may not appreciate some of the kind of the messaging in here. I won't go into what exactly it is, but it's in there. But the actual characters themselves did grow on me through the movie, and I kind of quite enjoyed their relationship and believed it. I kind of believe these two people were able to kind of move past their kind of differences and end up in a kind of a good place with each other. When we do see effects, and we do see some, I think they're actually quite good. We have a couple of kind of beasties in the movie, and I kind of quite like the fact this is a religious style end of the world with this kind of rapture and things like that. Kind of it makes it for quite some scary kind of stuff kind of going on there, and what are they going to do to try and kind of get out of this kind of situation? It's what could you possibly do? So that was all pretty good. And I have to say, I think I preferred the second half of the movie than the first. So I think at least it ended on a little bit more of a better note than I think it started at. Which leads me into what doesn't work. I think, to be honest with you, the fact that the first half of the movie takes place in a strip booth, got a little stale after a while. It's one single small location, and we spend a lot of time trying to get out this one location, and there's various kind of we can't get out this way, we can't get out that way, and it almost feels like they're kind of rinsing and repeating. They're going through the same motions more than once. They think they found a particular escape route, but it turns out they don't. Things like this, and it happens time and time again. Now again, I'm thinking this is probably a budgetary reason, and they needed to kind of, have this movie, have some substance to it. But ultimately, I think the first half of the movie just seemed like it was dragging, to be honest with you. And this is where most of the kind of the conflict between our kind of two characters happens. And I just they are, they have opposing views, and there's going to be those sort of conversations. But the first half of the movie, again, I think they're a little bit more unlikable compared to maybe the second half of the movie. There's a hell of a lot of exposition in this movie. Now, like I said, this is a lower budget movie, and it's about the Rapture, and we don't really see it. So what we do get is our kind of religious character telling us lots about what is happening, like a lot. So, you know, again, I suspect this is obviously down to the budgetary reasons, and I appreciate that. But there's a lot of exposition in this movie. It's a lot of tell, don't show. I think it needed to have a little bit more exciting stuff happening in it, to be honest. Certainly with that first half of the movie, I think that kind of the zombie sequences weren't particularly kind of strong. There's one zombie, but that didn't quite, you know, it didn't quite have a real sort of scare factors in it. I think it does pick up in the second half, and I do think the movie is better off for having a better second half, because at least you're going through tunnels and you feel the movie is progressing in plot as well as these characters kind of path, and we get a little bit at least of kind of different kind of backgrounds and things like that. Overall, I gotta say, I still thought this movie was quite enjoyable, and I think it primarily sits on the kind of the shoulders of our two actresses here. I think they did a pretty good job here of making these characters seem layered, I guess, and interesting to a point, and likeable. I kind of like them both at the end of the day. So I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.